Hello friends, welcome to Standard 12th online tutorial. We were studying the chapter Genetics and there is the principles of inheritance and variation. We are about to start with the topic that is known as the sex determination. Now, so it was a curiosity for the scientists to find the sex of an individual. Now, the mechanism of sex determination has always been a puzzle for the genetists. So the initial clue about genetics chromosomal mechanism can be traced back to some of the experiments that they carried out. Now there was a scientist known as the Hanking. Scientist Hanking in the year 1891, he could trace a specific nuclear structure all through spermatogenesis. Now, spermatogenesis means what? The process by which the sperms are being produced in the insect. Now, what did he observe was that? He observed that if the insect they carry the spermatogenesis, then there are chances that the male would develop. And he came to a conclusion also that 50% would carry the spermatogenesis, while this 50% did not. So, in and all, it developed into the female, we can say. Okay. Now, so Hanking, he gave the name, we can say, that is to the structure that is known as the X body. But he did not prove it, or he failed to prove it, we can say. Failed to prove its significance. So later on, he saw that many of the other scientists, we can say, observed that a large number of insects, the mechanism of sex determination, so a large number of insects produce the XO type. Okay, where X is the chromosome and O is the additional chromosome, we can say, the sex chromosome. Okay, now if the eggs, we can say, they bear an additional X chromosome other than the normal chromosome. Okay, so what happened was that this normal chromosome, that is known as the autosomes. So despite the autosome, they carried an additional X chromosome, which we now called is that what we can say the sex chromosome, children. So the male had the what, children? XO type, whereas the female, they had the what, children? XX chromosome. Okay, and it resulted into the what class? The sex determination in insect. Now, few of the examples that can be given over here is that of the grasshopper, children. Okay, wherein what happens is that XO type determines in which the males have only one X chromosomes, whereas the females have, we can say, double X chromosome. Now, if we talk about the humans, so see, humans, we can say, they have 23 pairs of chromosomes. Out of that, 22 are similar. 22 are similar in males and females, and that is, it is known as the autosome. Whereas the one pair, okay, one pair, it is known as the sex chromosome. Now, why the name sex chromosome is given? That is discussed. Because in the females, in addition to the X chromosome, it had X children. So this X is referred to the sex chromosome. Whereas in the male, it had the X and the Y chromosome. But this Y chromosome was, we can say, shorter in length. It was what? Shorter in length than X. Okay. So that is why this pair, we can say, is known as the sex chromosome, we can say. Okay. Now see, in both the above types we have discussed, that is the, we can say, in the males, it is the XO and the XY. Whereas in the females, it is what we can say, XX and the XX again. So this type of difference in the chromosome is known as the male heterogamy. What we will say, children? Male heterogamety. Okay. Whereas we can say two different types of gametes in terms of the chromosomes are produced by females. That is, this is known as the female heterogamety. Okay. Now, let us talk about another example that we have, that is this part. That is in the, we can say, okay, birds. Now, in the birds, we can say, that is, there are two chromosomes, Z chromosome and the, we can say, W chromosome. Now, this Z and the W chromosome determines the sexuality of an organism. Like say, we can say male. Male, they have, we can say, two similar ZZ chromosomes. Whereas in the female, it is known as the ZW chromosome. Okay, so if and in the we can say in birds, okay, there is in the hens. So what happens is that if ZZ fertilizes, it will give birth to the male hen, and if ZW, the W fertilizes, it will give birth to female hen, we can say. Okay, so this is all about. Now let us talk about a new, we can say, the topic that is known as the sex determination in the human beings. Now, sex determination in humans. See, as we all know that these humans, they carry the 23 pairs of chromosomes. Now, out of that, the 22 pairs are alike in males and the females. And that is why they are known as the autosomes. Whereas the one pair, okay, one pair which is quite different in males and the females. The female bear XX chromosome and the male bear XY chromosome, and that is, they are known as the sex chromosome. And they are also known as the allosome children. They are known as the what? Allosome. Now let us draw the pedigree of the, okay, the Punnett square of the sex determination, the humans and the males and the females. Like suppose this is the X, Y, X, X. So for that we can say that is XX, XX, XY, XY. So we can say if this two any of the fertilizes, it will be a baby girl. If over here, if this two fertilizes, it will be a baby girl. If this one fertilizes, it will be a boy. And if this one fertilizes, it will be again a boy. So out of the 4 probability, 50% chances are there that we can say 50% boy, whereas 50% girl. Okay, so over here, see, look here, if this XX fertilizes, it's not an issue. But look at the second case, X and the Y. If Y fertilizes, it will be boy, like this one, see this one. But what if the X fertilizes, children? Then it will lead to a development of the girl, we can say. So we can say the sex of a child depends upon father. Depends upon what? Father. Okay. So this is what it has to say. Okay. Now, so you understand with the topic of, we can say, the sex determination in the humans, but nobody knows what will be the fetus, in the embryo, in the womb of the mother will develop into. So if we say that it is the miracle of the God that leads to, we can say. Okay. Now, the next topic that we are going to study is this sex determination in the human beings. In the honeybee. Now, so sex determination of the in the honeybee is based on the number of chromosomes, an individual receives. Now, the female, we can say, female honeybee has, we can say, 32 chromosomes. Okay. Whereas the male has, we can say, half the number of female, that is the 16 set of chromosomes, we can say. So if both the fuses, and the fusion takes place, then it will develop into a what? The female. But what if the fusion does not take place? Fusion does not take place. It will lead to the development of male. Now, so the fusion, of the development of the male without the inculcating of the female chromosome, that is known as the parthenogenesis. Now, parthenogenesis means what? Without the process of fertilization, we can say. Okay. Now, over here, see these 32 chromosomes which the female has, they are having the diploid, we can say, number. Whereas the 16 chromosomes, they are what? Having the haploid. Such type of, we can say, determination is known as the haplodiploid sex determination system. Okay, so this is what the thing is. Now, so it means that the father will not have sons, but they will have the grandsons. and these grandsons will have the what we can say grandfather. Okay, so this is what all the about the sex determination takes place. Okay, now let us move on to another part that is known as the mutation. Now, for understanding the mutation, let us first of all study the structure of DNA, children. See, DNA is a double helix structure like this. See, so these are the nitrogenous base pairs we can say. Now, this is a double helix structure. It is a what? A double helix structure. That is, it runs from 5 prime to 3 prime, 5 prime to 3 prime. Now, the structure of DNA, as we can say, the three things. That is the nitrogenous base, then the phosphate group, and then we can say the third one, that is the nucleotide. Okay, or we can say it has the, we can say, pentose sugar. Okay, now nitrogenous base, that is, it has adenine, thymine, cytosine, and we can say guanine. Now, it is a rule in the pairing of the nitrogenous base that adenine will bind to, we can say, thymine, and C will bind with the G. That is adenine to thymine and cytosine to guanine. Okay, now this rule is known as the Charge-F rule. It is known as the what? Charge-F rule, children. Okay, scientist Charge-F discovered that, and that is honor we are doing this. Now, if any of this disturbs, like if we can say A binds with, we can say, G, C binds, we can say, with T, then it leads to a concept known as the mutation. So you must have understood the concept of mutation. So what do you mean by mutation, children? That is a phenomena which results in the alteration of DNA sequence. So let us write down the definition. That is, it is a phenomena. It is a phenomena which results in alteration of DNA sequence and change in the genotype. Okay, now, so in this we can say this alteration of the, we can say, changes in the chromosome will lead to, we can say, certain, we can say, abnormalities, or we can say it leads to the aberrations. They will lead to the what, children? That is known as the aberrations. It will lead to some of the changes in the base pairs of, we can say, like this we can say, and it will also lead to the pairing of the shifting of the, we can say, okay, the base pairs and the changing in the pairing of the DNA helix structures. So this will lead to genetic disorders, and it will lead to the disease such as the color blindness, hemophilia, sickle cell anemia, okay, phenylketonuria, thalassemia, and all these things. Okay, so let us, we can say, okay, do the other part in the next step, what you can say, session, and in the next session we shall talk about what we can say, the pedigree analysis. Now, so what we have done is that today we have done about the, we can say, what, children? Let us quickly revise. That is quick revision. We have studied about the sex determination, the history and the significance of that. We also talk about in the human beings, in the honeybee, and also we can say we are also talk about the insect sex determination, that is in the grasshopper. We'll also talk about we can say the mutation, how it is being caused. Okay, and in the next chapter, in the next session, we shall talk about the pedigree analysis. Okay, so this much from this end, children. Thank you very much. Take care, children.